one more. Genax close to leveling up. The Mystic Shot missing Noah. Flushes out the first blood and it works in the end. I think I will too, Dagda, because the Giantex's top lane, he's playing on a nice edge. There it is! You know what? We won't take the lot because he's now dead. Isma's going to be the target though because he's easy access. Giantex lured them in with a two-man Magnet Storm. They've lured them down and Giantex are now pummeling them into the ground. And now a lot on top of Reekers. Going to remind him where he came from. A shutdown, a big kill, and Giantex are shooting for thrills.
Amazing start of the season for Giantx, who pick up their first W here. And welcome back to the Marriott Bonvoy post-game check-in with Jackies this time around. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you as well.
I saw a lot of reactions online saying, oh my god, Jackie's playing a mage, what happened to him?
I mean, for this one, it's Viktor, you know? If
Yeah.
I don't play this champ, I'm deserved to be permabanned a bit, but yeah, I mean, I think I can play mages now, so...
Of course. And jokes aside, you had an amazing performance, not only you, but the whole team. I remember the first interview we had last year when you were coming in as a rookie. How much of a different player are you now, Jackies? What is the main difference?
I think quite a lot, actually. I feel like this game, if you play it slow, you kind of just win. I mean, I don't know really how to explain it, but I just feel like the game is way different now. I don't know.
I mean, what do you think of the game and the changes that they implemented when it comes to the objectives that you can take, how active you have to be in the early game and how rewarding the game can be in that sense?
I think now, because of the changes, I mean, I like them because changes are fun. So that's good. But I think communication is way more important now because if you grief a base and you lose tempo, you lose an objective instantly. So I think it's for sure way more about communication now.
When I look at GX for now, only one game, but still, I find you guys really, really decisive and really, it feels like you're already connected together and know how to work together. What is going to be your resolution for this year, Jackies, as a team and also for yourself?
I mean, to win it all, right?
Yeah.
That's the goal number one, but just stay consistent because that's something that GX didn't have last year. So for sure, just be consistent.
Well, wishing you the best for this year. Of course, thank you for the interview. That's all for us here. We're going to send it to another quick break, but we'll be right back on the other side with Movistar KOI versus Fnatic.
Incredible play there from...
Oh, that was incredible. You love to see it.
Right, yeah, let's really
What
get into...
a move! He's just so good. I mean, the persistence, the patience to find the angle. You just don't see that from rookies. I think he's got it all. He's got the bad.
Have a break. Have a Kit Kat.
Ooh, that looks good. Do you want to maybe share a little bit? Yeah.
What a move! Wait, is he switching lanes?
Red Bull gives you wings.
The human body was built to move. Not trapped at a desk in one singular posture for 12 hours a day. It's time your chair evolved. This is Secret Lab Titan Evo. Ergonomically engineered for you, gamers, hybrid workers, artists, backing your every move.
Welcome back, everyone. The temperature, it's going up. Giant X definitely put up a great performance, but now comes 2 games that I'm incredibly excited for, not in the least for Movistar KOI, going up against Fnatic because Jojopyun is playing in Europe. Let me just pull up some of the things he said throughout his career about Europe, because it's kind of funny, but I do also think it's just awesome that we have him in the league.
Yeah, and we're not even censoring any of this. That's right there. 4K for your eyes only. Have a peek at it. This is a guy with a history of chatting. This is a guy of history of playing against Europe. This is a guy of history of beating some European teams.
Yep.
Not only that, I do believe he's beaten Fnatic as well.
Yes.
At one point. So a little bit of a grudge match here too. And yeah, unbelievable. We have our first American import in the LEC. Jojopyun, welcome to the league. That's all I can say so far.
This is, I think, one of the best imports ever. Of course, we had like a slew of Korean imports as well, who was very good.
He hasn't played a game yet. We should maybe like...
Just based on this.
I mean, yeah, he has a lot of cool accolades, and he's a very cool personality. I'm very interested to see how he does today against Humanoid, one of the better mid laners in our league, and a really good test for him. But for me, I think it's too far-fetched to say it's the best import ever.
I think I say it because like I was always very impressed with this guy. Also, he made it count internationally versus EU specifically, right? So you got to give him something to begin with, but you're right. In terms of the Mad Lions KOI, the Movistar KOI, this is going to happen, system, it's really cool because I do think the mid lane was something that deserves an upgrade.
Yeah, I think the mid lane seemed like a bit of a weak point in the lineup, but it was a very, in my opinion, a very impressive lineup. They had a great year, and I was overall really impressed with especially the bot lane and the creativity of Myrwn's picks, and I think if Jojo comes in with a really high work ethic and really wants to prove himself, I think this team can be really good.
Yeah, but my main issue when we saw Mad Lions back then was that at Worlds they just dropped their own style completely. They said, we tried doing our own style, we lost everything in scrims, then they tried to play a normal Korean Asian style, just didn't work for them. I'm hoping this year they can just hone their identity from the get-go with Jojo part of the roster.
Yeah, and I mean, we know why it happened, you know, we don't know 100% what everything happened, but kind of the reasons why it didn't work out between him and C9 anymore. And I was listening to Yamato in his preview, and he said, I don't think a player like that has a problem like that again. Like, that doesn't happen again. When you have a new chapter, when you join a new team, when you go across the freaking ocean, you're going to start clean, right?
I mean, I think, yeah, but at the same time, no. But I think a lot of the time when issues like that arise is due to the structure rather than the person.
Okay.
Like, for me...
You're flaming C9?
Yes. If a structure allows you to be late 90 times, then you can't, it's like fool me once, shame on you. Fool me 90 times, who's to blame here?
What a perfect segue to Fnatic's changing coaching staff, because Fnatic really was a team where last year I thought, fool me once, but like fool me 3 times, why the hell do I still think you're gonna win this game that you should really be winning? And for them, I really hope that they turn a new leaf, because this is an org that, when you step into this lineup, they expect a lot from you, and rightfully so, right? Are they going to get it with Upset and Mikyx?
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely hoping so. If we're taking into account what you're hearing behind the scenes, then they're doing really well in scrims right now, and it's looking like they're stomping. But I think as well that you have to temper your expectations every single time. You're bringing players into a new system. Scrims in the beginning of a season can be a little bit paprika at times as well, so you don't really know how things are going to go when you go to the stage.
And you know it's really OP in best of ones.
Exactly. That's true. That's true. Cheesepec also very good. But I have high expectations for them. I think Mikyx and Razork can become the best jungle support duo that we have in the entire league. I think that they definitely had a rough split, Mikyx and Upset, last year, but this is your time to prove yourself and that you belong at the top, and I think they are 2 good players to have in your roster if you want to contest for the top.
Razork and Mikyx, maybe, or Jojo and Elyoya. That's something we haven't seen, and it's insane to think that it's happening. Is it weird for you guys as well?
Yes, Sjokz.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Dagda, you came up with a great line for Jojo, or at least you told us why. Why is he wearing a hoodie?
I was laughing saying he has to wear a hoodie underneath the jersey, because if an EU jersey actually touched his skin, he would melt like the Wicked Witch of the West. I don't know if that is actually true, but we'll see. We'll see. I'm excited to see him, though, because I think, like, for me, the thing that excited me about Jojopyun was actually like MSI 2022, where he came off of it and was like, hey, I've learned from Xiaohu, I've learned from FLICKR how I can implement roaming into my play more, how I can impact the map more, away from just my own lane and my own laning phase. And now he's playing on a team where you have Supa that wants to step up and be a massive carry. You have Myrwn that loves to play these carry picks. And if you have Jojopyun, Elyoya, and Alvaro supporting back that, yeah, I know GB just said Mikyx and Razork could be the strongest support jungle. I think the mid jungle support on Movistar KOI could be exceptional if they can get this.
When their debut year was so strong last year, when Elyoya was leading these rookies who've now replaced Frescowie with a rising star, or should I say an American star. I mean, MKOI. A lot of people saying, not MKOI, sorry, Movistar KOI, still in the old mindset. This is their potential year to continue creating those upsets and show what they're capable of. Now, we're in draft, of course. Zyra is banned away, something we've seen in jungle over in the east in the past. Ezra banned as well. I'm seeing Skarner open so far.
And Vi. A lot of these kind of strong jungle picks. Varus as well, if you want to try and head towards that. So, K'Sante, another big pick. So, Laure, going to be the last ban on the opposite side. But I think the Zyra ban says to me that Movistar KOI, at least in scrims, have been hyper-aggressive. Because the teams I've seen pilot Zyra have been the more aggressive teams who want to look for terror dives. Yep. I want to try and use this double range with a engaged support on the bottom side to just dive and look for these terror swaps and see if they can find that early aggression. So we're going to have to see if that is the plan from Movistar KOI or whether Fnatic are just like, no, we actually don't want anything that can disrupt any sort of weird plays in the early game.
I feel like as well, if we're talking about some of these junglers, I mean, Razork, who in the past has been so great on things like Vi, I think Wukong as well comes to mind that's really strong. You're leaving a lot of risks up. Yeah, Corki, the final ban, Dagda, Skarner is open. The Scorpion is open. Will Elyoya take this as a first pick when nowhere in the world does the Skarner get let through?
I think he'd be mad not to. He is so incredibly strong.
Good one. Good one. Good one.
So it's so good in early skirmishes. It's a tank. It does damage. It just kind of works. So yeah, early Skarner pick up here on the opposite side. But now the question is, what do you want to try and respond it? We started to see Xin Zhao come up as a pick into this, so maybe that's what Razork wants to try and go towards. But we'll have to see. Either way, like, I'm not gonna lie, I've just been looking at the screen. It is bizarre to see Mikyx in a Fnatic jersey.
It really is.
I know he did play in the XL lineup for a bit, but Fnatic, it just feels wrong somewhere like deep in my soul.
I mean, after being, you know, so focused on the bot lane of Fnatic last year, I think it was just weird for me to see Noah and Jun together in a Giant jersey just before. So.
I think but this one for me is like when Caps left Fnatic and went to G2.
Oh yeah.
It feels kind of like that same level, just because of the rivalry that exists between these two rosters. But with Mikyx and Upset now, this could be such a sick lineup.
Really good.
Yeah.
And in this game, it's going to be Upset on the Misfortune. Ivern paired with it. So Razork going for the more defensive style, and we're not going to get something like the Vi or the Wukong that's still been left open. Difference of opinion here as KOI lock in the Varus. Right now, I'm seeing two very powerful picks in the meta.
Yeah, the Varus, though, does end up mean that you can't really go towards things, and even the Skarner, like the Rakan, which is definitely something that's a lot more popular in the LCK and the LPL. Yeah. Haven't seen it a huge amount today, but it means you're probably looking more towards like Leona or an Alistar, something to be that big engage tool for Mikyx, because you want something that enables this Misfortune in the bottom side. And I was going to say, I think the Rell is about to be taken away here for Alvaro.
We're really loving the Rell here in EU so far.
Strong.
Yeah. We have said that for a while, though. Let's be fair. You know what else is really strong? Viktor. Yeah, he's going to be picked a lot, so get used to it here. And Humanoid on Viktor. I like the sound of that.
Yeah, I mean, something that can farm up well. We just saw in the last game how much damage you can do from Jackie, so not fully surprised. But it does mean if I'm Movistar KOI, I start to look towards those support bans we just talked about. Like, get rid of the Alistar, get rid of the Leona, try and set up for something that's a little bit more favorable for yourself, because if you force Mikyx onto something like a Braum, it doesn't quite have that same effect as being able to set up easily in these fights. So I think you're in a relatively good spot, and just taking away the playmaking tools from Fnatic.
While for Fnatic, they're getting rid of some of the playmaking tools away from KOI. Straight away, that Akali taken away from Jojo. And if we know Jojo as well, we know that, again, Humanoid wants to get the best matchup possible here is actually Ornn's taken away. Okay, so no support bans yet from KOI. Instead, they want to get rid of some, I guess, top lane safe picks from Oscarinin.
Makes sense. Just try and set up for the team fighting that obviously Fnatic are going to go for. Remove that. Ornn going to be removed. I am curious what else I'm going to go for. K'Sante could be the one if they want to, but you also get the counter pick here as Oscarinin, so I think he's going to be relatively fine. But I do think you want maybe like if Myrwn ends up going towards something like that Gragas can opt into, I think Gragas could be a good pick here for Oscarinin and stuff. So you definitely have options. I think it's just more the blatant, obvious ones they're trying to get rid of. Okay, now another big team fighting ultimate thing.
I'm curious though, Dagda, what Jojo's going to debut on, because this guy is, you know, he played a lot of Akali last year. Well, I mean 3, because like, didn't play many games. But for Jojo, I am more curious about if something like Silas pops up as well. Keep that in the back of your mind. One of his most played of all time, and in fact, actually is. As the Alistar you talked about wasn't banned, so it's a natural takeaway that Mikyx can run into the Rell.
Yeah, I mean, Jojo could also go for something like the Galio here.
Oh, yeah.
And then Myrwn could go back towards something like the Rumble. But again, Myrwn has always had this weird champion pool, so God only knows what he's added to the mix over the course of the last few months. But looks like a little bit more bog standard here, going for that consistent DPS in the Azir, when it's a bit of a toss-up whether you want the poke Varus or you want the on-hit Varus, at least thus far.
Okay, so Azir, front to back Dagda. That's how KOI are going to play this, trying to use their superstars in action here. While on the other side of Fnatic, and we've got a bit of burst coming through from the bottom lane. I'm curious how this rounds out. You talked about Oscarinin. We saw the Horn ban, the Gnar ban, but Jax we see another time here today in the LEC.
Yeah, I think you've already kind of hit on the Alistar being that setup tool, so this is more to give Oscarinin the comfort in the side lanes and see if he can be that threat, especially as he starts to scale into the game. Should be able to ignore the Cassante and just go for terrorists. So overall, I think I like what Fnatic are bringing to the table. It's just the MF isn't exactly an on-hit, like, doesn't do an awful lot of auto-attacking in fights, so the Ivern doesn't really have someone that can give those shields to enable a huge amount, but still decent in those team fights. Whereas for Mad KOI, I mean, this is the most obvious team fight front to back that you can possibly go for, so I'm expecting a non-hit Varus here, and also then getting that Azir damage through. I think it's going to come down to big objective fights.
Well, I'm looking forward to it. The debut of KOI here, not only with a name change, but with a new game. You know, last year, Jojopyun, he had to talk his split. That's what they're saying in the LCS, Dagda. Talk his split. But on C9, he couldn't get through the championship. We saw no international representation coming through in 2024 for a team that a lot of people thought would make it through. Remember 100 Thieves with the upset over in the LCS championship at the end of last year. It's been a while, so I hope that refreshes everyone's memory. But then Jojo sat, waited, and now KOI. Long have we waited? Let's get into game. It's the new KOI, it's a new Fnatic. Now, first day of winter, we're here to see if Jojo can walk that talk.
And I don't think it's unfair to say that this is the most hyped import of this split versus the most hyped team of this split. This is the Fnatic. Fans of Fnatic have been waiting so long to potentially hit the high highs that they used to have, take that title away from G2. But they have to try and perform, and I think all eyes are going to be on them to see if they can finally find that magic, and if upset Mikyx being added to the roster can make the difference that they need.
And I think you talked about it before, support jungle synergy is what we're excited for. Razork and Mikyx syncing up. You know, Mikyx as well, there was some criticism towards the end of last year, but overall, if you look at the year, some of the plays he made on G2, some of the setup, and I think just overall, his competency on that team was exceptional. And when we saw G2 at its peak, it was because of Mikyx. It was because whether Mikyx talking, whether it was Mikyx plays. Excited to see him on Fnatic here, where you're right, alongside Upset, this roster could do dangerous things for the region. This is a good testing point, a good melting point to start us off.
And in theory, it's also a very aggressive bot lane, which really does fit into the Fnatic style, as you can already see Mikyx being a pain. But this is just, yeah, I mean, he can try and steal away all these camps. He has Q starts.
Elyoya's taken Raptor damage. Mikyx's taking none, so the Q comes out. Elyoya will heal up thanks to the cam.
Yeah, there's the level 2.
Level 2, okay.
So I wasn't sure if Mikyx was going to wait until all the little Raptors got low, thanks to the AoE damage, and then try and go for the Pulverize to steal them all. But Oscarinin trying to get in range for the CS, just to the experience, takes a little bit more hurt than he would have been expecting there, but still going to be relatively fine in this top side, especially with Elyoya already kind of set behind thanks to Mikyx.
Get some experience further to your point as well, as Mad KOI have got themselves a topside invade. Elyoya is kicking it off. While remember, Razork very vulnerable early. He's got a bit of damage thanks to the fact that he has Red and using that range on Elyoya, but pulling to the edge of patience, unfortunate. Elyoya on a low health bar as well. Let's see if Razork cycles back.
Yeah, you had Alvaro leave top lane to come and help him out, so should be able to get this. But Humanoid still does some hurting. Has to be a little bit careful. Has the smite just about to come up and available. Jojopyun also being a little bit annoying by starting to rotate up towards that camp, but everyone going to back away. So Razork will lose out on some of it, but the problem is he already invested some of that HP bar to try to set up those camps for himself, so it's a good steal away from Elyoya.
Thankfully, the jungle kills you a little bit, but you're right. I mean, he did have some setup, as you said, going towards the bottom side. He is invading while Elyoya's kicking off gear in top, but because Alvaro roamed, he's slow to get to level 2. Needs a couple more minions here to see if he can get something with the dive, as Crashdown has now been used, but no Shattering Strike as of yet.
Yeah, which means you probably won't be able to look for the dive on this one, because you need to try and already get back into a position with the ramp up to then get the Crashdown, and you won't have the Crashdown available, which is kind of the shield you want for a potential dive, but level 3 on Oscarinin.
Mount up instead, it's now run its course, so no flip back yet. In fact, the Counter-Strike, well done. I was wrong, but Alvaro didn't get the mount up anyways. Oscarinin now trying to buy space. Supa starts auto-attacking, takes a turret shot, the flash, ignite down, they're out of turret range, but Oscarinin uses the ward, but Supa playing Legolas in his first blood.
And it was great patience from Movistar KOI. They don't attack when Oscarinin jumps away. They don't attack when the Counter-Strike is used. So they don't ever take that tower aggro. And then all those defensive tools are used by Oscarinin, which means Supa is able to pick them off in the end.
And they've got an early lead, not because of that first blood that starts to feed his strength, but also because remember that top lane, well, bottom lane now with Myrwn, has been relatively untouched. CS lead and the push in bot. It's a good start for MKOI.
And one of the important things that for Skarner with the increased tower damage that we're seeing is that when Skarner uses his E, the damage doesn't start until he hits you into the wall. So you're already CC'd by the time that the damage is starting to come through. So that's why Skarner can be so threatening on a lot of these dives. It's just how long it actually is until he takes aggro from the turret in those dive situations.
I have to quickly apologize. I keep saying MKOI Dagda. It's like built into my brain after last year. Movistar KOI, of course. The first blood, as you talked about, we're looking towards jungle a little bit here now as well, because junglers are now back on their side of the map as set up from Mikyx. He's got a level advantage, but Alvaro with the crash down, while Upset, as he's now matching, gets that push in and utilizes that 2v2, while Jojo gets his first taste of Razork. The flash going for max range here. The flash away from Jojo's matched. I was waiting for that root caller, and Razork held his tongue.
Yeah, Jojopyun just stayed in the minion line, so never gave Razork an opportunity to really look for the root caller. And then as he got to the back end of them, ends up flashing away, so nicely done. Elyoya also able to hold on towards his blue there, now rotating towards this top side in case any sort of threat comes through on towards Supa as he shoots it away, but kill the last minion and just walk back. So nicely done, at least there by Jojopyun in that engage.
And look at what's set up here for Razork as he goes back after that exchange. Full topside camps, or rather without red, but he can then move towards bot. He's got a couple of camps, and it feels like there's a bit of a lead here with Elyoya, who's thinking about what he can do in the top side of the map as Grub's spawning 15.
Yeah, no ultimate available for Upset off the back of this, though, is going to be pretty nice for a potential fight, because, again, Supa is going to be in a pretty decent position. He's already got the reset and that dagger in his back pocket, or sorry, the recurve bow in his back pocket, so Fnatic trying to attack him immediately. Oh,
Alvaro goes over the wall. There's a root caller, gives Mikyx a way in as well. The crash down on the spot, but Mikyx gets a pulverize in return. Upset is fighting it out with Supa, and Supa's winning. A hail of arrows to get the slow lethal tempo fully stacked, but out of range. Fnatic now with the lower health bars, and Movistar KOI happy to take that trade.
Upset can't take the 1v1. Actually, hang on, what's that here?
Let's find out another 1v1. Myrwn, unstoppable in the nick of time, because Oscar about to bonk him again.
So Supa had the barrier and had the better reset when it comes towards raw damage, so Upset just has to run for the hills as soon as it comes to it, but now in a position where he has to reset, Supa will be able to pick up this next wave and keep control of that top side enough for Elyoya to get the Void Grub. So nicely orchestrated here by Movistar KOI in the early stages.
Movistar also setting up their feet of strength, so 3 grubs. We didn't see that in the last game as Chaos Storm's already out. Jojo thumbs up. Okay, he's already talking the split. It's such a nice way to say it, Dagda, you know? Talking your split.
It doesn't work if you don't
draw attention to it. I did it again, did I? Again, lucky we really don't have a mic. Razork with a quick steal, by the way. And he's still up in CS in the jungle. Now thinking about what he can do as his blue spawns. His red also up at the top side of the map, but Dragon not thought about just yet as Fnatic hold Ruba.
Humanoid is able to get constant control over mid thanks to Viktor. Just his Q range is absolutely absurd, and then he's also got the E, which is very good after you level it up and just clearing out these waves. So it does make it very difficult for Jojopyun to really trade effectively. And it means that then Jojo hasn't been able to really contest a lot of the movements. So even here you can see...
Flash from Mikyx against the wall, and I see a cow who's leveraged Supa against the wall, still there. Daisy now joins in, and a bullet time that Supa can't escape from. His flash was up in 5 seconds, and it's a well-utilized time from Fnatic.
Really well played by Fnatic, playing off that tiny timing window there to pick up the kill. Now Jojo gets the flash from Humanoid.
He does, and Elyoya is here to help out as well. And Impale, that hits somehow. Hitbox a little bit OP as the shuffle down. Gravity Storm is great, but can Jojo shuffle in another time? Elyoya about to get the driving car up and available as well as Humanoid runs for his life.
Jojo doesn't have enough mana. He doesn't, so he can't actually get the follow-up. Humanoid going to escape to the top side. That double stun was crucial there, but now Razork wants to try and find Jojopyun, doesn't quite get the slow, so it will be the Azir walking away.
Stopping him getting the plating. I can't believe you're right. Humanoid just walking away with an inch of his life as Elyoya now trying to pick up the pieces. Will he pick it up over Oscarinin as Myrwn tries to get the setup? Counter-Strike going to be down. Set up there, but Myrwn won't find a thing.
So all said and done, I think you're looking at least the kill going over towards Upset in the bottom side. He's starting to open up a little bit of a gold lead for himself. The lack of a play in the mid lane still pushes Humanoid out, but it means that you're able to get a little bit of a CS lead there. Whereas on Myrwn's side, he's the one that's really winning this here for Movistar KOI. That big lead off of the early plays where he was able to get into position to pick up some of the early CS is starting to set him up with a really nice lead there.
Jojo TP's back to mid. Small CS lead for this Azir will actually match out that gold lead that Humanoid's currently holding. I'm looking at jungle. We know why Razork is ahead thanks to his CS. But outside of that, it's quite neck and neck here in the early game as we approach 10 minutes.
Elyoya is doing a great job though of just using Alvaro and this jungle support that we saw worked so well for them last year to pick up all of this early objectives. They're about to kill Dragon. They already have the 3 of the Void Grubs as well, which means that if they're able to start looking towards, hey, we can steal away 1 Void Grub in a minute's time, maybe pick up another Dragon when it spawns, you're now already looking at a good opportunity to get the feats of strength and good control just in general in this game.
And again, we haven't landed, I think, over the past couple of weeks as how strong feats are. Some people are saying it's not strong. Some people are saying it's very impactful. You know, as casters, we yap about it because naturally it's a new thing on the map.
So, Froxon, one of the the balance team guys, put out a list basically saying, hey, look, it's about 4% stronger than getting the first tower in the game.
Right.
So it still does have a lot of, it's about 74%, so you still win rate with the feats of strength. It's still less than any of the major objectives, but I think the stats are a little skewed because let's be real, if you get 3 objectives and first tower or first blood, chances are you're already in the lead of the game, so by default, you're probably going to be winning. So I definitely skewed in that favor in the same way, Dark Seal win rate or the upgrade is always going to have a higher win rate than a regular item because you buy them when you're winning.
And you sell Dark Seal when you're losing as well. So that's actually a good comparison too. Either way, I mean, KOI are set up to pull it out this game as Fnatic look to contest. Razork has got Daisy back up and available, but as Daisy enters the Rift once again, KOI have a good position, now almost getting 2 grubs.
Yeah, still though, Alvaro's very far from his team.
Yeah, he might be dead actually. Humanoid is also far from his team. He gets shuffled by Jojo, but the gravity field again does a bit of work. Chaos Storm can't finish him off though, and that's the first kill. Now, grubs reset, 2 still up and available as KOI look for the next part of the fight.
Alvaro on the flank though, only just spotted out by Mikyx. Mikyx needs to keep him out.
Crash down is good, but Mikyx has done his job. Bullet time there, but Alvaro flashes before he gets a final hit. Bullet time caught midway as Elyoya comes through. Myrwn gets a flash out of Upset, who's running for his life. Fnatic are losing this fight despite the low health bars from KOI. The flip back from Myrwn is exceptional. The kill goes down, duly given credit as KOI again swim in their own pond.
Movistar KOI were so low on the health bars, but the quicker trigger pull from Myrwn to get into the fight, the better positioning on the TP, and the fact that Humanoid just got completely caught out at the early stage of that fight means they're able to win out. And now 6 Void Grubs for Movistar KOI to start off the game.
It's a brilliant start. It's a great kick into the season, and as we look at this replay, note that the feats of strength are all theirs.
Yeah, and Humanoid is just standing on a ward, completely caught out, isn't in position to actually join the rest of the team. So Alvaro is doing a great job of buying a ton of space on the bottom side by keeping Fnatic interested. And even then, as the rest of the fight starts to move forward, he's in a great spot as well to just move in around. Mikyx has to keep him in check. So Upset doesn't really have the fight forward, could potentially honestly threaten onto Jojopyun and Supa with that ultimate, but Elyoya was always in position to keep him at bay, and then Myrwn, when we talked about great TP positioning, forces the flash out from Upset, and then it's just picking off the stragglers for Movistar KOI.
Man, how hard is Myrwn going to be hit to kill this game? As a bit of a setup from Mikyx. Alvaro gets out yet again to support battle and bust heads. 4 kills in this game for KOI, and 4 of them Alvaro was a part of. You talked about a little bit earlier, when we came into this game talking about how Mikyx and Razork sync up, we forgot to say that Elyoya and Alvaro are doing it a lot better in this early game, and the setup from KOI has been quite clean.
I think Alvaro has been probably the most impressive rookie that we've got coming in from last year, and like very quickly becoming one of my favorite supports to watch, because it is calls like that, like, hey, I'm going to threaten onto a backline to make sure I can get the space I need. But how Mikyx wants to try and answer onto Alvaro.
We have talked about them yet. Alvaro crashes down. Mikyx can't find much more because there's no damage. Now Elyoya is here, and Chains Corruption forces out the Unbreakable Will. Ulti for ulti here is the trade.
Yeah, and you just got to back away, so keeping your AD carry safe, no summoner spells burnt on towards Supa, and now we're a minute out, so everyone just wants to reset for this dragon. And if this is a take here for Movistar KOI, they'll get on towards the feats of strength. They'll have 2 dragons, they have the 6 Void Grubs, but hell, even if they don't want to go for it, you rip through a turret in the state that you're in. Plus, you've got TP advantage here, which you can try and use if Jojopyun wants to try and move up towards the top. Sorry, actually, Humanoid is up as well, so. But you're in fine position. There's no real worry for Movistar KOI. They don't feel threatened to fight anything that they don't want to right now.
I mean, right now, they don't have to fight anything till 145. It's Herald that will be spawning. Coming up a little bit late, and remember, again, it's going to be the same outcome that you see every other single game, as Myrwn might be in trouble. Grandmaster at Arms has popped, the flip back is there, and he's going to try and take the 1v1, but Myrwn can't redirect anymore. Remember, all out, and Myrwn now playing with a couple of daggers, bit of true damage as well in the kit as TP burnt, and that means that Movistar KOI have backup.
Still though, Elyoya is here, so I think you can actually just look for the tower off the back of this. So good call by Jojopyun to follow up here, and here we go.
Against the wall, misses though. A counter strike now subdues him, and Elyoya has to flash away. Not perfect, but the teleport can't be cancelled even though the turret's gone, and who cares if it was? Humanoid bursts into the scene, and against the wall, a mistake by Elyoya, who's left alone, but the Impale, is it enough is the new question as he gets out with a sliver of his life, and somehow KOI are making it work. Supa doesn't get taken down. The Chaos Ray almost does the job, but Fnatic just can't get a break with these 1-inch fights.
Fnatic just can't get their carries into position to deal the damage that they need to. Somehow Elyoya gets away on the back of that. The turret goes down, and Fnatic are desperately trying to hold on to all this, but it's Movistar KOI constantly coming out on top.
It's just by inches, literally. 2.5k gold lead after Elyoya looked like he was caught out, looked like he was in a bad position, and every single time, Supa is the one benefiting. 3 kills now in his back pocket, and Dagda, he's close to his second item. I mean, this AD carry bursting onto the scene last year, we got really excited, and with a debut like this in day 1, we're starting to get excited again.
And you do have to be careful here, Supa, on a Varus, because even though you have a long attack range, your effective range isn't that high, right? Because when you look at MF, yes, Varus outranges as the auto attack range, but MF has this ultimate that hits you from an entire screen away. So she has an effective range that's longer. Whereas when you're on hit Varus, it can be a little bit difficult to get into these fights, especially if you're under threat from Oscarinin jumping in, a flash from Mikyx. There's a lot of things that can catch you out as you try and go for it, but Movistar KOI have been playing really well around Supa to enable him in these fights, and same with Jojopyun, just making sure that they are constantly safe and dealing the DPS if they need to.
And in such good position, Dragon now taken, spawning a Mountain Soul here when they have Cassante, Skarner, Rell. A good front-to-back comp, feels good as Alvaro actually might be caught out against the turret though.
Mickey, no!
That was not right. Dagda, I think they didn't want him to go overside.
Yeah, I think they wanted him to stay put, and I don't think Mickey really needed to put anything there to make sure that happened. But Alvaro saying thank you very much to Mickey for saving him. It will be Oscarinin though on the sideline catching stuff out as...
Hello, Daisy.
Okay, got the interrupt, so we'll complete the tower, and you're still catching sides. So a little bit of a whoopsie, but still, Fnatic actually getting some stuff done on sidelines.
Yeah, that's good. Some gold back when they're suffering so much, when the game feels like it's slowly but surely heading towards this front to back that we talked about in draft.
So now, Ripchar are going to be the next focus. Immediately, Myrwn has to go down and catch that big wave because he was interrupted, which is buying time now for Oscarinin to get the reset and could potentially open up on mid to look for a play if they want to, but I think Fnatic are just too far out of position to really try and follow up an upset, us one reset, so this is going to be a fourth objective now going over towards Movistar KOI, and they're in a fantastic spot here.
Herald in the back pocket. It's an early game of wonders and Fnatic have really struggled to grasp themselves. There's a couple of mistakes that we've seen as Jojo going to walk into the gravity field. He cares not because the setup's there. Alvaro flashes, gets a Magnet Storm, holds them in place. Supa does the same with Chain's Corruption, but it only eventually gets Humanoid as he's out of range. Now Teleport as Fnatic want to look for a turn. Oscarinin sets it up, but it's met by an Impale. Ulti on the way out, damage being done, but they can't get the job done again until Myrwn under turret says no! Humanoid gets in range. Blinking health bars everywhere. A root caller gets it onto Supa, but a knockback says no again. Fnatic are not being given a cent.
It was a root caller of the void there. Oscarinin follows up on it, immediately goes to his demise. That was not where you wanted to click. And now again, it's another kill. Movistar KOI shrinking away with tiny blinking health bars, but they're still there to fight. And now they're going to come back out onto the map. And it's everything going their way. Fnatic just needed one small kill at any point in this game, and they probably would have had enough damage to finish off some members of Movistar KOI.
Dagda, I'm seeing the pain points of, you know, misfortune into tanks, right? Bloodthirster first, of course, but with all the armor that comes through, with the health from Elyoya, I should say, it just feels very hard for Fnatic to get the job done. The DPS, not as consistent as something like an on-hit Varus, right? That should be a 2-item shortly.
I'm trying to figure out how Fnatic try and come back for this, and without it being some sort of like miracle play from Mikyx where he sneaks in behind enemy lines to get a big knock-up, I just don't really know how they do this. Movistar KOI, like, they are so safe in these fights because you've got Alvaro, Elyoya, Myrwn, great front line, great peel, even Jojopyun able to keep the backline safe if someone manages to sneak in thanks to that Emperor's Divide. So I think you're really, if you're a Fnatic fan hoping Movistar KOI mess up. But on the opposite side, I'm delighted to see this Movistar KOI. Like, this is exactly what we were hoping for with this roster. At least I was when I saw Jojopyun. Like, this was one of the teams I was most excited for with this upgrade in the mid lane. And we're getting to see why now. Like, Jojopyun has been absolutely insane. Like, he came across from NA, has played on multiple international events for them, has been a multi-time winning LCS as well, so that would be absolutely fantastic. Like, you can see it there at the bottom of your screens, like, he's just been absolutely spectacular.
Recently turned 20 years old. I love it. We just had to put that in. I mean, 33 solo kills, 616 kills, by the way. So many accolades in such a short period of time, right? The youngest player to win LCS, like, I love it. I absolutely love it, again, that we've taken him.
And again, it was when he was in that 2022 year where he went to internationals. He talked in interviews afterwards about how much he learned and how much he was implementing into his own gameplay. And he's even talking to guys like Azir when we had internationals, saying like this was one of the players he was most excited for, because you could see him looking at those top class and world class mid laners and saying, how can I learn from these, and implementing it every single week on the Rift.
I always remember that MSI, you know, top 4 on Evil Geniuses as well. When he was alongside people like Inspired, you know, previously Rogue in the past at LEC as well. I mean, Jojo, he's had his run of the mill in such a short period of time. I think that's what's most important since he came out of Academy in 2021, since he finally found his way into LCS in 2022. Like, we're only talking about 3 years within the LCS ecosystem to be such a champion.
And now you're adding them into Alvaro and Elyoya, the most dominant jungle support that we had last year. And this is just a match made in heaven, right? Like, you can see how well this team is working together, moving around the map together, constantly being in communication. And I think it's just leveled up this roster so incredibly much. And it's Fnatic, who were the most talked about team. Everyone's like, it's Scrims, they are the best team. But when it has come to day 1 of the LEC, we've seen it time and time again, Scrims don't matter, and it's Movistar KOI on towards this third dragon.
They really don't, do they? Fnatic are going to try and contest. They started with a TP, but as Herald is going to be summoned in the midst of it to make a 6th man, Fnatic now think about how they get in from this choke. Dragon looked away from KOI, instead looking for an engage. Poke is there, Mikyx starts it off, but he just presents himself for another Heartsteel stack. backs off, and Fnatic can't make a decision. Myrwn gets a stun back as well. The gravity field stuns no one, and in goes Jojo! Dun, dun, da, 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 da. He is dead! Dagda, Mad KOI still found themselves though, running forward. Myrwn with a flip back, but even though they find Jojo, it's a golden win for the rest of KOI.
I mean, is it a beautiful end to the anime though, as Elyoya wants to try and go a little deeper. We'll get stunned up. No support.
Still
Supa to follow.
Yoink, another stack goes down the range. Almost connects with Oscarinin, and Fnatic are back in their base.
And Movistar KOI will have to back away, but look at what they've taken. Dragon in the faces of Fnatic, Tower in the face of Fnatic, and it might just be a first win to the very disappointed faces of the Fnatic fans. But as we were watching here, the poke is starting to come through, but Myrwn steps up, Mikyx tries to look for the engage, doesn't quite catch Alvaro, with Oscarinin getting poked out. Jojo just kind of sees his moment with Myrwn going in to take the game by the horns as he needed to. Great play, doesn't quite catch Humanoid, but Humanoid's completely out of the fight, and also separates himself enough from Supa that the ultimate from upset isn't hitting onto the key carries, isn't keeping them out of the fight. So Movistar KOI are able to clean this one up, and it's only 23 minutes of the game. You got Adakan.
Yeah, okay, well, let's take that next. KOI's up 4,500 gold just about, and as Myrwn sits around the risky part of Adakan, Fnatic move up themselves, but there's so much damage now. For people like Jojo, even after the last fight, Leandri's picked up 2-item tank here for Myrwn as well. Fnatic know they're in dangerous territory.
Especially because they're all on top side. Jojo's just pushing solo in on bottom side. Like, Humanoid has TP, not matching, and these are the same mistakes we saw Fnatic making in the mid-game last year, where they're just not quite in the positions that they should be, over-committing with TPs to plays that they shouldn't have, and this was the worry, was could Mikyx and Upset be a big enough voice in the mid-game to try and help alleviate this? Well, Movistar KOI have just been playing the map better than Fnatic this game.
Movistar KOI in every element this game, pretty much. As Dragon Soul is next on the horizon, as Baron spawns in 30 seconds, as Adakan sits there as well, and this is something we've seen when it spawns topside Dagda, as teams can just channel one into the other. They play the GA, they play a dangerous fight around Baron if need be, and it all comes together. So let's see how the setup is here for KOI, as Fnatic at least clear vision for the time being. They're desperate for that top turret to get some objective bounty in the meantime.
The saving grace for Fnatic, if they can try and keep Adakan at bay, is that because Adakan is further away than Baron, you actually can try and trade Dragon for Adakan in a lot of situations.
Right.
And because it just takes the enemy team longer to get to the pit, and it is quicker to take than Baron, so you can actually get in and get out. And the pit is not a pit. Like, you can walk out of multiple different directions, so you're not as stuck in there. So there, maybe if you can keep Movistar KOI at bay, you can look for some sort of trade there. But I think with the position Movistar are in, they're just going to push in top, get vision over this topside jungle, and immediately turn and burn this new objective.
Or at least go for the inner turret in the meantime as well. Oscarinin is just waiting patiently as Myrwn absorbs a bit of damage, but cares not really. That is a 2-item tank here now with Spirit Visage, as Elyoya with an Impale has found himself a cheeky Razork. Chains Corruption make it easy as well, and there's future knockups to come as Mikyx just takes some damage. Bullet time is nothing from Upset, and there you go. KOI have an advantage. No jungler, no smite. Take your pick.
Yeah, Baron gonna be taken. Like, you don't need to take Adakan because, well, you can go for Baron, go for Adakan, reset, and then just have this insane buff as you go through the enemy base. So Oscarinin trying desperately to get in a position, but there's no ult for Upset. This is a bit risky for Fnatic.
Getting stun after stun, no smite, of course, means that the risk stops there as Humanoid looking to get shuffled on, flashes away. Jojo now just auto-attacking, goes golden with a Chaos Storm in the middle of the wave, but again, KOI have taken another one to bite the dust, and that Chaos Storm is not going to get the kill either. KOI just keep getting pick after pick, kill after kill, blood after blood, and Fnatic walk away empty-handed once again.
The roster shuffle is now shuffling Fnatic out of this game. This has been fantastic from Jojopyun on the Azir, going forward aggressively, catching people out, and now Baron taken. Here's the Adakan. That's been nicely doled up to them as well. As you're going for the reset, you can just two-man this. So only inhibitor towers apart from the top side are remaining. Dives aplenty from Movistar KOI. And little, I feel like Fnatic can really do to dispel this. You don't even have ultimates anymore.
It's going to get flashy for someone like Jojo as well, and what a debut. Dagda, I know the hype that came from Fnatic I know that the hype that was there, saying they could be better than teams like G2, are they the best? Right now, people are questioning, like, hang on a minute. What do we think of KOI? What do we think of Fnatic now?
But the problem is, if Jojopyun just rocks all the European mid laners, like he's just beating Humanoid, does that mean that he just gets to rub all those old tweets in our face? Like, we kind of need him to be a little bit humble.
Right.
He can't just come into the region and just ruin everything, you know?
Cash, you got a big task to do. You got a lot to say. But for now, Humanoid little here in this game where he hasn't been able to play out his Viktor. Been able to stack much as Oscarinin with a stun. This is a hope. He's got Grandmaster's Might on top of Myrwn, but the rest of KOI are running in. Jojo does it again, but this time more members feel the sting as he sits in, takes no damage, and Upset tries to beat him some, but Jojo rocks up into a bullet time and will withdraw to play it back again.
And this is spectacular from Jojopyun. This is how you use the Atacam buff, setting up your team spectacularly to take 2 of these inhibitors with the Baron buff. And honestly, they might even be able to take a Nexus turret or 2. Now, Nexus turrets do respond, but does this game last 3 more minutes? I don't really think so.
I'm just wondering if Jojo can get there before they try and end the game. Here we go, all in from Alvaro, doesn't connect. Myrwn the same as well. Oscarinin gets backline access, but does he have enough damage? He's swayed once more and broken down. GA pops, but Supa here to auto as Mikyx tries to delay the inevitable. That GA should give him a little bit more to play through as Myrwn and Supa still left standing, and look at Supa having the time of his life on this Varus. He blights one and takes another. A GA to send them back as Fnatic are left with no Nexus turrets.
There is nothing in the base of Fnatic, and what makes it worse is this false life. The fact you only get 100 gold for each of those kills you desperately had to work for, whereas Movistar KOI get all the gold, a quick reset, a mountain soul for themselves because they're back on the map faster, and now just get to waltz into your base as you're trying to hold. You literally get half a second to breathe and you're back into it.
Don't worry, Dagda, if they wait 2.5 minutes, the Nexus turrets will respawn.
I like the quote from Betty.
You might not think this is important, but I want a game thanks to these respawning. I'd like to see the proof.
Well, Fnatic are gonna maybe need to find proof in the pudding here because they need something to go their way.
They need an entire cake at this point, Dagda, and if they could eat it too, they'd probably be given the time to look at those respawning Nexus turrets. There's a nice flip back. Mikyx looking for his last engage. Chain of Corruption, flash away, and nicely done from Supa. An exceptional debut for him this year as well, as you might be surprised, but everyone looked at this roster as one to prove the point. They went to Worlds last year, but they're looking to take a championship with it too, as they beat down Fnatic in 30 minutes.
Movistar KOI are one of the most exciting rosters to keep your eyes on in the LEC for 2025. A dominating performance against Fnatic from start to finish. Superstar Supa stepping up. Phenomenal play from Jojopyun. And everyone on this team needs to take a bow. I cannot wait to see more.
I mean, this is an exciting roster again. Can they find regional dominance? I mean, it's early for me to say, of course, just haven't beat Fnatic, but you get hyped when you see your key player of the game. It's going to be Jojo, Supa, Alvaro. Now, Supa played well, Alvaro played well, but it's Jojo's debut, that's all I'm saying. We take a short break before we end out the day with G2 versus KC.